Hey, guess what? Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. Alright, when we last left off, we were on our way back to the Central News Agency. We had business to talk with Bulling. Right? Yeah, we had just narrowed down our search area. The place where the killer must surely lodge. Somewhere in the vicinity of Goulston Street. And we were going to talk to Bulling about... Say what again? Oh my god, there's so much dialogue here. I don't know. I know we were on our way to Central News Agency. What else really is there to talk about? Was this on Fleet Street?
Ah, Bulling is there. It won't hurt just this once.
It won't hurt just this once to talk to him?
Hello, Mr. Bulling. So, did your colleague tell you about the tip?
What tip?
Ah, I see. I gave him an explosive tip and he went without you? Oh, that's not very sporting on his part. No doubt he took all of the credit for his discovery.
You're winding me up, eh?
I must show Bulling something to make him believe me.
Okay.
Closed.
Do I have anything with me? Oh. I got the paper. Is this enough for you?
What do you want?
I'm not winding you up. The proof is that he gave me this advance on the debt.
The traitor! He owes me if I find him!
Before I leave, can you do me a favor?
Heck, tell me.
I'm looking for some reliable info on the murders committed in Whitechapel in the months before Polly Nichols' attack.
Reliable? Ha! You really think you'll find that here? Fine. I'll be honest with you. We have folders that group the dispatches from the current year into categories. In the police law category, you'll find the transcripts from the trials and investigations that we sell to the newspapers that ask us.
Perfect.
Sadly, I am out of time. I'll leave you to solve it, eh? You're the detective, aren't you?
Okay. And nothing of value was lost. Okay, I'm going to stand over here so I can see the whole room, first of all. Holy moly, we've got some things. Okay, we will do this. We'll start left, and we'll work our way around here. The blue envelopes from the dispatch compartment contain confidential facts that must not be discussed in the news. As a reminder, they contain the political personalities, essentially the royal family, and economic issues. This dispatches will be retained only to be diffused when Buckingham Palace or the ministers give us authority. Okay. Repair the wood of the news and brief compartment, £1, payment received. Okay. Okay. Sir, as the agency receives numerous dispatches, the filing system that you made appears to be too small, particularly for the world and society sections which cover too much area and overflow into the boxes below. Police, law, culture, respectively. Okay, so that gives us an idea of what we're looking for then. Would you be able to furnish a device in order to keep only one filing cabinet? While awaiting your response, sir, please accept our best wishes. The Assistant Director. Okay. Dear George, your little brother has some misfortune. My first week of work has been very grueling. First, I was given a spot far from the stove, and I am very cold in the morning. Next, I have to sort through the dispatches, the most tedious and boring work imaginable. Once the work is done, I must take each envelope to the journalist in question, who won't even deign to look at me. Finally, at the end of my third day, the boss called me to his office to give me a sermon. It seems that I had mixed up the dispatches. I was so worn out that I could only protest half-heartedly. He gave me a second chance, so now I'm in a sticky situation. The only hopeful note comes from my colleague, Miss Filthen, a charming young woman who is the only one to give me a smile. She helps me as much as she can and tries to prompt me regarding which compartment I should put the dispatches, because everyone here knows the order of the sections, but no one has bothered to tell me. Sounds familiar. The lady has so much compassion and slides me notes such as politics and society are on the side, sports is underneath economy. Personalities is at the end of the row. Front page news is the first compartment. And these confidences are almost words of love from her mouth. I don't think that she likes placing the envelopes on the desks at all because she ends up with some thanks that are very disturbing. I have volunteered for the task, much to everyone's displeasure. Nothing new concerning my landlady, but I managed to pay her for the week, and she consented to keep me. I don't say anything about my troubles to Mumsy. I don't want to alarm her, but not wanting to lie to her, I have chosen not to write. With warmest regards, your brother, Albert. Well, Albert, you seem like a pretty decent sort. To improve the dispatch filing, propose major info up high, except news and brief, minor info down low, except police law, thus in future. Propose also to invert news and brief, which is for the moment up high, and police and law, which is actually down low. Furthermore, the weather section is almost always empty. Put it with news and brief. What a system they have. One more note. Dear Fernand, I am confirming my presence on Friday evening at the club. It will be with pleasure, because I must get my mind off things or risk falling into a black depression. Just imagine the new lady still has the favors of Janet, but she'll end up forgetting him and moving into me because I am not lacking in ideas to get rid of her suitors. Yesterday I randomly placed a few inventions in science with politics dispatches. After all, they are always harebrained items. Given that the compartments are on top of another, it could have easily passed as one of the new lad's errors, and, as anticipated, he was called in by the boss. Soon as I have a chance, I will show him how, like in the news, everything is in balance. He looks like a half-wit. He could easily confuse politics with society on his right, and this latter with economy, which is neighbor. What a lovely message. Oh, God. Terrible. All right.
The dossiers
think
are
I
full
get
of
it.
papers in dated envelopes. I can't open them. That would be too obvious. How can I tell which compartment to look in? No categories are indicated.
All right. We know that front page news is first. We had a note that said that, so front page news. We know that... let's see, which one was on the left again? All right, we know where news and brief was because there was the work order. So that one was up here. This one is brand new. We can see that. We know that weather, he said, was beneath that. There's almost never anything in it. So it doesn't look like they actually did merge the two, so that's fine.
This compartment was repaired recently. An envelope is torn. I can tell that this dispatch contains economic information.
So, economy. And we know from the note from Fernand, or to Fernand, we have next to economy was politics? No, society, then politics. Okay. And then we know sports was below economy. And then from the other note, we know that inventions and sciences... Wait. it wasn't next to sports. Wait, I'm getting confused. I'm not going to go back. I can do this. If this is one of them mentions something about blue envelopes. But if we already have blue envelopes in economy, and this actually is politics, which I mean I might be misremembering. But if that is the case, then the last one with blue envelopes was personalities. And police and law was next to personalities, so this is the one we're looking for. Inventions. World is always full, he said. This one's pretty full, though. This one's not quite as full, so maybe I got these wrong. This one might be world, but that's not what Fernand's letter said. It would be nice if I would make some kind of comment about the rest of these, as I did with the first two. But I'm not, so... Okay, I'm gonna believe the letter, and I'm gonna say that this other one that's mostly full but not completely full is world. Now we have the last two. I know that culture and these two were right next to each other, so this makes sense as our final solution. But I can't remember which was which. Oh, there's only two, so if it... Okay, I guess that's not right because it didn't say anything. So it must be this. Okay.
These envelopes contain dispatches of police and judicial cases. Now, I need to open them discreetly. I must try to unglue the openings.
Okay, I need to steam it open, I guess. Do we have... Is there a teapot on the stove? There's not. Is there a teapot around here? Wait, somebody mentioned something about water, didn't they? There's a pot. Here's a flower pot. Maybe I can use this picture, because she's steaming. Sorry. I see no oh.
Water.
Put the water on the stove.
I need something.
The water?
I need something.
Maybe I need to use the matches to light the stove first. Okay. Now I can put the water on the stove.
I need something.
What the hell? Okay. Stand in the corner. Spacebar. Oh, here's a teapot. There we go. Teapot full of water.
I need something.
What the hell, dude?
I need something.
Oh, it didn't actually.
There, that will provide me with steam.
Okay, now I can take the envelope. And we can... There it is.
Open, and it looks like I'm in luck. This envelope contains precious information.
Testimony in the Smith affair. Mr. Wynne E. Baxter, the East Street coroner, held an inquiry on Saturday, 7 April, at the London hospital respecting the death of Emma Elizabeth Smith, aged 45, a widow, lately living at 18 George Street, Spitalfields. Well, that's the right area, and in terms of victimology, the age and gender and so on are correct for our perpetrator, who it was alleged had been murdered. Chief Inspector West of the H Division of Police attended for the commissioners of police. Miss Mary Russell, deputy keeper of a common lodging house, stated that she had known the deceased. had known the deceased for about 2 years. On the evening of bank holiday, 2nd April, she left home at 7 o'clock and returned about 4 or 5 the next morning in a dreadful state. Her face and head were much injured, one of her ears being nearly torn off. She told the witness that she had been set upon and robbed of all of her money. Witnesses took her to the hospital, and when passing along Osborne Street, the deceased pointed out the spot where she was assaulted. She said that there were 3 men, but she could not describe them. Mr. George Haslip of House Surgeon stated that when the deceased was admitted to the hospital, she had been drinking but was not intoxicated. She was bleeding from the head and ear and had other injuries of a revolting nature. Witnesses found that she was suffering from rupture of the... Oh my goodness. That's very painful. Peritoneum, which had been perforated by some blunt instrument used with great force. The deceased told him that at 1:30 that morning she was passing near Whitechapel Church when she noticed some men coming towards her. She crossed the road to avoid them, but they followed, assaulted her, took all of her money, and then committed the outrage. She was unable to say what kind of instrument was used. Oops, I keep forgetting it doesn't scroll, it moves to the next page. Nor could she describe her assailants, except that she said that one was a youth of 19. Death ensued on Wednesday morning 4 through peritonitis, set up by the injuries. Margaret Hayes, living at the same address as the deceased, deposed to seeing Mrs. Smith in company with a man at the corner of Farron Street and Burdett Road. The man was dressed in a dark suit and wore a white silk handkerchief around his neck. He was of medium height, but witnesses did not think she could identify him. Chief Inspector West stated that he had no official information on the subject and was only aware of the case through daily papers. He had questioned the constables on the beat, but none of them appeared to know anything about the matter. The coroner said that from the medical evidence, which must be true, it was clear that the woman had been barbarously murdered. It was impossible to imagine a more brutal and dastardly assault, and he thought the ends of justice would be better met by the jury recording their verdict at once than by adjourning to some future date in the hope of having more evidence brought before them. The jury returned a verdict of willful murder against some person or persons unknown. The police are making every possible inquiry into the case, but up to yesterday, 8 April, had not any clue to the persons who committed the outrage. Okay. I'm not reading another one. Oh my god. Alright, I'm going to skim it for the details. I'll call them out, okay? So we have another victim, Martha Turner, or Tabram, who is a hawker, who was living at 4 Star Place, Star Street, Commercial Road, that is in the Whitechapel district, if I remember correctly, who discovered early on morning lying dead on the first floor landing of some model dwellings known as George Yard. Okay, inflicted with a, 39 stab wounds on the body, some of them apparently having been inflicted with a bayonet. So, the first other victim, Smith, we just read about, met the victimology profile for our offender. The MO does not match, though. While our killer has been taking trophies, many of those trophies being organic in nature, the violence is controlled, suffocation, slitting of the throat, and then disemboweling. The violence escalates, as these tend to do with serial offenders. So the first killing was relatively clean compared to the last. The woman, Smith, in this case, she was robbed, first of all, by several men. The description also of the offender didn't match our description for the other events, so I don't believe that those two are connected. In this case, we have a hawker, while not a prostitute. I mean, none of these women are really dedicated prostitutes. It's 19th century Victorian London. They're doing whatever they have to do to survive in the industrialized capitalist hellscape of the newly modern world. But a hawker would be some form of salesperson. I don't know exactly what it is that she's selling, but that doesn't mean that she is exclusively a hawker either. So what I'm getting at is, in terms of victimology, she could possibly be considered a vulnerable victim as well. Okay, the body was discovered by what? Alfred George Crowe, a cab driver. Okay. Got home 3:30 on Tuesday morning. As he was passing the first floor landing, he saw a body lying on the ground. Dr. T.R. Killeen of 68 Brick Lane said that he called to the deceased and found her dead. 39 stabs on the body. This doesn't match our MO either. This is a lot of stab wounds, and also with a bayonet, which is a long knife, but the knives that we had confirmed earlier were not bayonets. They were single-bladed knives of a more industrious nature, it seems, but they are still bayonet-like. The wounds would be similar. Her age was about 36, so she a bit younger than the other victims, but not necessarily outside of that range, and the body was very well nourished. Witnesses had since made post-mortem examination of the body. A left lung was penetrated in 5 places, the right lung in 2. The heart was penetrated in 1 place, and that would be sufficient to cause death. The liver was penetrated in 5 places. The spleen was penetrated in 2. So, a lot of stab wounds all around the torso. The witnesses did not think all of the wounds were inflicted with the same instrument. Okay, that's interesting. Generally by a knife, but such an instrument could not have inflicted one of the wounds, which went through the chest bone. His opinion was that one of the wounds was inflicted by some kind of a dagger. Okay, so 2 instruments, likely 2 offenders. And she was married to Samuel Tabram. Last saw her alive about 18 months ago on Whitechapel Road. Okay. So they were separated. She was living with someone else, Henry Turner. They were living as husband and wife for about 9 years. 2 or 3 weeks previously, however, they had broken up. He had left her on 2 or 3 occasions in the consequence of her drinking habit, so she could not clean up her drinking. Okay. All right. I'm going to come back to this, I suppose, if it's important.
The information excludes the murder of the first woman, Miss Smith. Jack the Ripper can't be the author of that crime. On the other hand, there are enough similarities to suggest he may be the killer of Martha.
What? No, I disagree.
Let's go to the pet shop.
No, I disagree, Sherlock. There is no connection between the 2. The second one, Tabram, was killed most likely by 2 individuals who were working in concert. Whatever. No point in arguing with the game, I suppose. Why are we going to the pet shop?
I must go to the pet shop.
Yeah, I'm here. Why?
Closed until further notice. Abraham isn't there. No luck.
Beep beep.
Oh, God, this fucking guy again.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening, sir.
Do you know why Mr. Solomonovich's shop is closed?
Which one? There's 2.
No, I don't. Perhaps his cousin, the cobbler, knows. But I believe the police came to take his animals. I think that might have something to do with it.
When was this?
During the day. The kids you were with the other day were there, they told me. They just came by to ask for some cat's meat. They didn't have any money, but I gave them some anyway.
Is something wrong?
It's just that there was a little girl with them, the same age as mine. My little girl who went away with her mother, with the angels into the sky.
Dr. Watson told me about your loss. Please accept my condolences. Would you like to talk about it? How did it happen?
The illness, sir. My poor little girl was in agony, and her face and body were ravaged by the disease.
Her face?
Yes, she looked like a ghost.
What illness was it?
Dr. Gibbons tried to explain when I took my little girl to see him, but I didn't understand. I'm sure that he was trying to insinuate it was my fault. I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I understand. Farewell.
Okay.
Let's go and see Dr. Gibbons.
Seems like we should probably talk to Isaac, but okay, I guess we'll go pry into this guy's life for some reason. I'm sure with the facial deformities he's talking about, they're going to try and say that he gave his girl syphilis or something like that, but I guess we'll see.
Hello, Doctor. Do you remember me? I'm Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson's friend.
Oh, yes. Excuse the mess, but I am doing a bit of tidying.
I have come to see you about a Mr. Hardyman, a cat food seller by trade who recently lost his daughter and wife.
Yes, I know him. A tragic story.
Actually, I was hoping you could tell me about the disease that took his daughter, a disease that would have attacked her face.
Well, to keep it short, we are speaking of syphilis, Mr. Holmes. You must certainly know that it is transmitted through intimate connections, and that the vast prostitute population here contributes to its inevitable progression. It destroys individuals by spreading through the body slowly. The most obvious symptoms can be found in the genitalia and on the face in the form of pustules or lesions. Sometimes this illness can destroy whole families. The father catches it from a prostitute, he transmits it to his wife, who in her turn passes it to the kids which she bears or nurses. These cases are numerous in the vicinity. Certain children, and this is the case of the little girl whom I won't name, suffer from an emaciation of the face which will, apart from predicting an imminent death, bring infamy upon the family.
So it's true. I mean, this is the late 19th century. Syphilis was a huge problem. It does lead to lesions and facial deformities, as he said. And in this period of time in the patent medicine era, the only real treatment for it was mercury, which would slow the disease and somewhat manage it, but would not cure it, and it certainly didn't do anything to help eradicate it or slow its spread. These days, of course, we treat syphilis with antibiotics, the development of penicillin being the most significant medical advancement at the time, and syphilis being a bacterial-borne illness. Essentially, it became a horrible disease to something that was very easily cured in a very, very short amount of time. It is passed through sexual contact, but can be passed in other ways, as he mentioned. I'm not sure if that's exactly what he's saying here, because I'm getting the impression that his daughter was significantly older when she died, meaning that she was not just born or nursing. That said, syphilis can take quite a while for those spirochetes to cause death. So, not going to speculate any further, I suppose.
Emaciation of the face?
Yes, what we sometimes call the pox. I will give you a photograph. One cannot be mistaken.
Oh, great. Are we going to get to look at a low-res photograph of syphilis lesions?
Void of lids. The nose is inexistent, as if it was cut off, and the cheeks are chiselled, as if cut with a knife. This loss of facial matter, this emaciation, is, in this area, often the gift from a father to his children.
Can I keep this photograph?
I should destroy it, but if it can remind you that one must sometimes think twice before giving in to physical attraction.
I always seem to find myself alone in such cases. Thank you, Doctor.
So the implication here is that it's similar to the final victim, as if the deformities on her face was some sort of grim tableau marking her as being syphilitic or something along those lines. You know, the eyelids, nose, and the cheeks. I see what they're getting at here. The game is not alone in this theory, but clearly they're trying to include the beep beep cat meat guy as a potential suspect, as in he lost his wife and daughter to syphilis that he got from a prostitute, so now in revenge he murders prostitutes. The game is leading us to that conclusion. If that is the solution here, which I'm curious, that's the only reason I'm really still playing this game, is because I'm curious what their conclusion will be, because obviously the case was never solved, it's open-ended. But if that is the conclusion that they're leading us to, I'm going to be greatly disappointed, because he does not fit the profile for any of the other evidence here. So we shall see. And by the way, game, thanks for the low-res picture of a syphilis sufferer. That's going to haunt my fucking nightmares for years now. Not actually all that sensitive, but still, it's strictly unnecessary. Yo, Isaac, your cousin got grassed up over there. What's going on?
Hello, Mr. Solomonovich.
Ah, Mr. Holmes. How are things with you?
I heard your cousin Abraham had a problem with his shop. What happened?
If I didn't know you well, I would tell you that it's Jewish business that doesn't concern anyone but the Jews. But as you have a little bit to do with it, you have the right to know what is going on.
Ah, would I have something to do with it?
Someone had seen Abraham telling you something and making big gestures near the Imperial Club. A vicious rumor quickly spread, and it has caused him great injustice. A slanderous denunciation attracted the authorities' attention to my cousin's shop. Abraham must be in the process of answering their questions.
I did, indeed, speak with your cousin the other night. I'm shocked at the consequences of this discussion.
As I was saying, it's the story of the Jews. In the face of adversity, we are united, but amongst ourselves, it's like anywhere else. As soon as our people take a dislike to someone, for right or wrong, we can be without pity and quite cruel.
This is all very worrying. Your cousin knows one, or rather two, of the men who were at the Imperial Club on the night of the Mitre Square murder. One of the two, a butcher in Aldgate named Joseph, is probably withholding information of the utmost importance. I must find this man. Perhaps you can help me.
But there are dozens of Jewish butchers around Aldgate, half of which must be called Joseph. And you know, Mr. Holmes, we Jews prefer to remain in the background of this murderer business, this Jack the Ripper thing. All of London is pointing their fingers at us, saying, "It's a Jew who disemboweled these women." Our community is in great peril, you know. There was the business with Lipsky and Leather Apron. I will see what I can do, but I don't promise anything.
I'd be extremely grateful to you. Very well. We may meet again, Mr. Solomonovich.
You are most welcome, Mr. Holmes.
I've paced up and down Whitechapel enough. I should return to Baker Street in order to reflect on the new facts that I have discovered.
If you insist. Let's do then. Baker Street. October 15th, 1888.
Hello, Holmes.
Hello, Watson.
Good day, Watson.
Listen, Holmes, I know I should have got here sooner to give you a report on my research, but this case has led me to neglect my patients and my wife more than I care to admit. I've been able to sort things out over the last few days, and now I am ready to pursue this investigation.
You don't have to justify yourself, Watson. Whilst I do tolerate you as an observer, and despite your occasional help with more menial tasks, may I remind you that you are by no means an indispensable part of this case.
Oh, you tolerate me as an observer, do you? Oh, you're too much, Holmes. Well, Mr. Detective, despite my absence, I have been working on this case, putting my relationship on the line in the process. And I happen to have a confidential letter that only passed from one lord's hand to another. What it contains is extremely serious and concerns Dr. Tumblety and his collection of uteri.
Let me see that.
Okay. My lord, be hereby assured of my entire collaboration in the affair, to which I must reply. No one will be able to cast opprobrium on our institution or ourselves. Our eminent colleagues support our policies, and they won't cooperate with the police as long as the higher interests that we serve aren't menaced. As you mentioned, we must avoid having to explain the uncultured masses the exigencies of medical research. A general crisis of confidence will result in inevitable amalgamation that the press would hasten to create between this and the hideous murders committed in the East End. To this end, I tactfully evoked the rumor that you mentioned in your letter when I met with my colleagues. It turns out that I have grounds, and these are specifics that I was able to obtain. 18 months thence, an American doctor in London did, in fact, contact certain hospitals. His approach was aimed at getting stocks of feminine genitalia, particularly uteri. He was motivated initially by the finalization of his research and his publication. The doctor in question wanted to include a uterus specimen freshly conserved in formalin with each of the research dissertations sent to each of the colleagues involved. A large quantity was thus necessary, and the doctor proposed to buy each of the uteri for £20 each. The hospital directors did not pay heed to these demands. Of that I have been assured. Between you and I, my lord, who knows what strange consequences would have followed these demands of the American doctor. The rumor of these unusual commissions made the tour of the hospitals in question. Okay, so he's doing research. That's why he has the thing. Okay, fine. We get it.
This American could turn out to be of great use to use.
That's right. And that's not all. I did some research and finally found an illness that affects the genitalia and can, in certain cases, cause facial symptoms resembling the mutilations seen on the last victim. It is called, would you believe?
Dr.
Syphilis,
Watson,
the emaciation that can be seen in affected children. I have known that for days, Watson.
Really?
Listen,
yeah, Watson, you're a fucking doctor. You had to do research on one of the most common venereal diseases of your time?
The map on which we established the area in which our killer lives. I think we should continue our study.
Insane. Absolutely insane. Watson, I am disappointed. Our table of junk is starting to clutter here. Let's see this before. Harvesting wheat in the moonlight. Okay, what was I doing? Oh, the map. Right? What did he say? The map on which... Oh, yeah. The map.
Well, I discovered the case of another murder before that of Bucks Row. It happened in George Yard. We shall put it on the map in order to see if it corresponds to our area of research.
No, we shouldn't. It's not related.
Place the murder of Martha Tabram in George Yard on the map. That is where Martha Tabram's murder took place. There's no point going there. I already have all the information we need on that matter. You see, this murder took place in the area in which our killer lives, his safe zone. Nonetheless, there are two major differences between the murder of this Martha Tabram and that of Polly Nichols. Firstly, the blows inflicted are not the same.
And the second difference?
It follows on from a doctor's opinion. He claims two weapons might have been used, and if there is one group of people we absolutely must not trust in this business, it's doctors. Don't you agree, Watson?
Watch it, Holmes.
Tabram's murder took place in an area where the murderer, whose cowardice is clear, was able to make a quick getaway, that is to say, near his home.
He stabbed her 39 times. It's not the same offender.
So the police would not link these two cases. And as for the other murders, seeing the ineffectiveness of his last one, he headed in
stabbed 39 times, not around the throat area, no trophies were taken. What the hell?
Necessary, and all the while planning his escape. My dear Watson, we now know what this man looks like, in what area he lives, and that he suffered directly or indirectly from syphilis. Let's not forget the anatomical knowledge he
suspecting that based upon one
given his
of the several murders.
A butcher seems very likely. However, it may be the case that the man was a butcher once, but is no longer. He might also have been a medical assistant. Who knows? That's why we need the testimonies of the other Joseph and Dr. Tumblety in order to be certain.
What shall we do, Holmes?
As the police's cooperation is futile and can be ruled out, we have nothing to do but wait. Watson, wait, and hope we see one of these two men before the killer strikes again.
This has gone
At
on.
last, a long day's work done. How are you doing, Holmes?
Fine, Watson, just fine.
I suppose you still haven't heard any news from Whitechapel?
No, Watson.
It's been almost a month now. Who knows? Our killer may have brought justice upon himself, overcome by remorse and ignominy for his actions.
Not a chance, Watson.
You haven't done anything about the story of a kidney that was sent in the post and reported by the papers. Why not?
The killer left a message on one occasion with the intention of harming. The letter accompanying this package served no purpose other than to give value to its recipient and arouse disgust against its sender. The killer has never done anything for nothing. In order to authenticate the Galston Street message, he left an indisputable piece of evidence. Can we really say as much about this kidney?
I don't know. All I know is that there are letters piling up on your desk. Isn't it time to move on to another case?
Absolutely not, Watson. I think that the other Joseph is reluctant to meet me. The man he saw must certainly have put the fear of God in him, a man well known for his violence and his hatred towards Jews. There can't be any shortage of those in Whitechapel. I have hope yet. As for Dr. Tumblety...
We found him, Mr. Holmes. We found him.
Who's that?
Dr. Bumblebee. He's been locked up by the bobbies, but they've let him loose. Oi! He was looking round like a rat who's scared of his own shadow. He's gonna do a run at years.
Watson, this is our chance. The game is afoot. Let's hope that Tumblety will go to collect his trunk. As for you, my little friends, thank you for lifting this burden that has been on my shoulders for almost a month.
Okay. Guess we're not quite there yet, but we're getting close to the police station then, right? Did I misunderstand? Okay, so we go to the boarding house.
He is here. The doctor is here, up in his room. Peeking through my door, I saw him go up the stairs, and I think that he has a pistol.
Yes, he does have a pistol.
The trunk. Did you do what I told you to?
Yes, I jammed the lock and filled the trunk with stones. Should we call the police?
Absolutely not. Go home, lock your doors, and if you hear a gunshot, shout as loudly as you can. Watson, we must disarm this man at all costs before attempting to confront him. Come, have your pistol at the ready and stay alert.
Charge!
Don't move a muscle or I shoot.
Who? But what is going on?
Bravo, Watson. I take back everything.
Is that
I
the
ever said
American
about your
hat I heard about?
Full involvement in our investigations.
Listen, Mr. Policeman. I already told everything to your colleagues at the station, so...
Don't you believe it, sir. We're not with the police. We are here to talk about human organs, an area in which you seem to have a great deal of interest.
What? But who are you?
We are the ones holding the pistol. Listen, Tumblety, tell us everything you know and you will be spared from the noose or a bullet. Have you tried to get hold of any female genitalia from someone during these past months?
So that's it. You English.
You English, and you're not taking female genitalia as trophies.
I do have a collection of female genital organs, which I hold dear, and never miss the chance to show my friends whatever the occasion. If you knew what I feel when my eyes meet the young men's, as they contemplate with astonishment and disgust this soft and flabby skin that they worship and place at the center of all their passions. Women repulse me, gentlemen. They are one of nature's greatest mistakes. Lying, haughty, and most of all, nauseating. No, sirs. Men, mankind, we are not made to soil ourselves with such animals, and it is my task to educate my peers, like the ancient Greeks used to do, and put them on the path to masculine relationships, the only kind worthy of our intelligence.
Oh, Jesus
My God,
Christ.
this man has lost his marbles, Holmes.
You haven't answered my question. Did you attempt to obtain any female organs?
Indeed, but a long time ago. I was living in Liverpool at the time. A few of my specimens were starting to lose their freshness. But despite the sum proposed, the heads of the university hospitals refused to accede to my demands. The fear of what others would say, certainly. I know nothing more similar to an arrogant fowl than an English doctor. Yakety yak, always showing off in the courtyard with their haughty airs. And as soon as...
Shut it, Tumblety. So, was it you who killed all of these women? Yes or no?
Excellent questioning, John.
to say
Surely
that
we'll
it
get to
was
the truth this way.
If I had really wanted a few more uteri, I would have had them brought in from the United States, where it would cost me much less than here. Or I would have shown a few gold coins in the hallways of a morgue or a hospital in London, and they would have kissed my feet to sell them to me, and not taken the least risk. But kidneys are all the latest, aren't they? I think that I could find one tomorrow for less than £1. In short, gentlemen, I do not know your killer, and I don't know why he's doing that. But if you come across him one day, please send him my friendship and my deepest respect.
You've gone too far this time.
Come, Watson, let's not get carried away now. Thank you for your assistance, Doctor. If I may offer some advice, you should leave England as soon as possible. Each day that you remain in this country is a risk that an intelligent man would not take.
My pistol?
Without that, it will be even more risky.
Well, that was dumb.
Can we believe this man, Holmes?
He can't be the murderer, and his story regarding the organs fits. But we can't
Why can't he
afford to
be?
take the slightest risk. I will ask.
I mean, he's not. I agree he's not, but why can't he be? Because he said he's not?
When Tumblety leaves here, follow him discreetly, and come and tell me as early as possible tomorrow where he is currently residing. Understood?
Understood, Captain.
You are already ready, Holmes. What is going on?
I have been waiting for you for at least an hour, Watson. It would appear that a new drama has unfolded. The youngsters came to give me this address, but I have some doubt as to the actual location we are going to. Let's try anyway. At worst, we may come across the Baker Street irregulars to put us in the right direction.
Okay, wonderful. This back on Goulston Street. This looks like the
We
weird,
are lost, Holmes.
dilapidated carts
No,
we
we're
saw.
not, Watson. We are heading for the very street I'd hoped for, but as I wasn't sure it was this one, I've made a few big detours in order to find the right one. I'll know it when I see the name.
Why, of course, Holmes. Why didn't I think of that? The great Sherlock Holmes can't...
The dialogue is so unnatural. Who that is?
How are you, my friend? Are you not feeling well?
No,
My friend is a doctor. He can take care of you.
don't go there. He came here, and he...
Now, Watson, take care of him.
Miller's Court. Slice the corner. Okay. Is this a former well that they have blocked off here?
I have no reason to go that way.
Okay, then where the fuck am I going? In here? I'm jamming on space. I'm not seeing anything come up, so... Oh, I'm supposed to peek in through the window. This is where we see Mary Kelly's body. Yeah. The final crime scene. Okay. This is going to be horrible, by the way.
My God!
What happened?
Can't talk. Wait for the coppers. Are they coming? My eyes are crying.
No.
Go find them too, mister. I'll stay here and keep an eye out. Go!
No, I must await my friend. Ah, here he is.
Watson, are you there? How are you?
Fine, Holmes, and you? What happened?
Hello, sir. Where are we, Watson?
In Whitechapel, Holmes. This must be Dorset Street. You don't seem very well. Do you need something?
Indeed, Watson. Some clay, a great big piece of clay. I would ask for some wine, too, but as you know, I taste nothing but melodrama.
What is over there?
A trip from which you will never return, Watson. Trust me, don't go there.
A trip? Behind this door? In this room?
It's not strictly a door, it's more of a portal, a threshold, and what lies behind it is not the mortal realm, Watson. It is a place beyond time and space, the gift of a frantic artist who made use of his talent in order to grant us access to his world, Watson. Beyond that threshold is an abyss. Hell. The police won't take long to arrive, and the last thing I want is to waste precious time on them. Could you lead me out of this area and take me home?
Okay. Seems like there ought to be more to do here, but very well. Hey, you guy.
I have nothing to ask.
Okay.
Nothing of interest here.
Okay.
I have no reason to go that way.
Force me to do something illogical, and then what? Do I have to go back through this way?
I have no reason to go that way. I have no reason to go that way.
Okay. I can't go this way. I can't go that way. I can't go that way. I can't go in there. What in the fuck do you want me to do? I'm jamming on the spacebar key.
Interest here.
This is the...
Let's go to Baker Street.
Oh.
You should come and eat, Holmes. Mrs. Hudson has worked wonders. The joint has been cooked medium rare. If only you would tell me what was in the courtyard.
The answer, Watson.
The answer, Holmes?
Yes, the answer to a question that you asked me a few weeks ago.
How the devil can the answer to a question I asked you be found in that courtyard? And what question are you referring to, Holmes?
How are
drinking
killers
and
about
speaking at the same
height of
time.
Horror by taking another victim, Watson?
That is impressive.
Did I not tell you that I wanted to avoid melodrama?
Do you mean to say that...
Yes, that's what was in that room. You helped towards the colour. All that's missing is the odour, but I shall let that pass. The mutilations almost all resulted in large removals of flesh. My photographic memory noted them all in great detail, the shape, size and location, and thanks to the softness of this clay and your medical knowledge, I believe we can attempt to determine what is missing from this lady.
Or you could have let the doctor examine the
We
body
should wait for the medical examiner's opinion.
rather than
Surely
relying
not,
on
Watson.
your
This massacre has gone on long
photographic
enough.
memory.
I can assure you that I will do everything in my power to get our hands on Jack the Ripper before this night is out.
This game is frustrating.
Watson, we shall reconstruct the body of this poor woman and inspect it in detail as well. Your help as a medical man will be invaluable.
Holmes, I feel a bit unwell.
Well, I understand. I will manage on my own. Her throat was slit just like the others. The wound is particularly deep.
Sack up, Watson. This might not be the right job for you.
Her throat was slit just like the others. The wound is particularly deep.
Okay. So, I can't actually select any of these organs. There's no... Oh, I have to pick up the...
There were incisions in the rib cage, as if to inspect the lungs.
Okay. Kidneys. Intestines. Oh.
The liver was neatly removed.
Should have put the liver in before the intestines. I guess I have to. Oh, I can't undo them. Oh, there's a bunch of organs here I didn't see.
The liver was neatly removed.
Understood.
An organ is missing, apparently. I must specify which organ this is on my list.
It's the heart.
There we are, Watson. We have examined everything. The heart is the only thing missing. 2 uteri, a kidney, and now a heart. He had all the time he wanted in which to disfigure her, cut her up like a piece of meat, and yet took nothing but the heart. What do you think of that, Watson? Watson?
Okay. I understand it's grisly, but...
I dread to think how you'd react if you saw a corpse. I'm returning to Whitechapel, Watson, to Isaac's. If the heart tells you to come with me, if the heart tells you a little wordplay there.
Ha!
Let's go to the cobbler's.
Ha!
Let's go to the cobbler's.
Why are we going to visit the Oh.
Evening, Mr. Holmes.
Good evening, Hardiman. Has Abraham Solomonovich still not reopened his shop?
No, not that I know of.
Have you heard anything about the latest murder?
Certainly there is talk of nothing else. Poor girl. I hope they catch the bastard who did it.
Who do you think that could be?
A madman, that's for sure. Everyone in the area is pinning it on a Jew. But I don't believe that for a second.
Why?
Because Jews don't like blood, you see. They're not allowed to eat it, and they have to drain the meat before cooking it. It's true that they eat animals, but they are fanatical about all kinds of silly things. I don't know much about their rituals and all, but I know that a Jewish butcher can't just do whatever he pleases with his knife. He has strict kosher rules to follow.
You seem to be very well informed.
Well, I buy my meat from them too. My clients don't care whether the meat comes from Jews or not. Cats eat it regardless. And let me tell you, I'd go as far as to say that I may even have more faith in a Jew, because even if they don't eat all the offals, a Jew inspects them to see if the animal was in good health.
Okay.
Jews are allowed to eat offals?
Yes. They eat calves' kidneys, I think.
How big is that? A calf's kidney?
Ah, well, that depends if it's...
Okay.
When fresh, are they as big as...
They would be.
You know, Mr. Hardiman, it's lucky for both of us that the murder that took place in your mother's courtyard was only the Whitechapel killer's third. Had it been the first, I wouldn't be thanking you, as I'm doing now, for all of this important information. Goodbye and take care.
If you say so. Right, farewell, Mr. Holmes.
Let's go to the cobbler's.
Can we stop talking to that fucking guy now, please? Alright.
Good evening, Mr. Solomonovich.
Evening, Mr. Holmes. If you've come about the business of my cousin, I hate to say...
Before you respond to my request, I must ask you to answer this question of the utmost importance. What offals are Jews allowed to eat?
Well, the same as you.
Kidney, heart, liver?
Yes.
How are they prepared?
Kidneys are boiled, heart is often finely sliced and cooked on a skewer, and liver is always grilled.
These offals, do they come from cattle?
Yes, beef or veal.
And eating non-kosher food would be a grave affair for a Jew, isn't that right?
Yes, it would be very serious. But what are you getting at?
If I were to tell you what I'm thinking, Mr. Solomonovich, you would pull out your own eardrums to not hear the end of my sentence. It goes against the beliefs of hundreds of members of your community, and for some, perhaps even worse. I will ask you one last time before involving the authorities, who I assure you will be far less discreet than myself. Do you know who the second Joseph is, the Aldgate butcher, who your cousin knows from the Imperial Club?
His name is Joseph Chaim Levy, but I don't know where he lives. I know nothing about him, other than he's a member of the Imperial Club on Duke Street.
That street is after Church Passage, coming from Mitre Square. Am I right?
That's it.
Thank you. You have been an enormous help to both of us. Now, listen carefully. I need you to find 4 or 5 strong men among the members of your family who you trust wholeheartedly, and to wait here with them until my arrival, or you receive a message from me. Is that clear?
But if you will tell me...
Later, Mr. Solomonovich. Later. Let's go to the Imperial Club.
Okay, fine.
Ah, there's the Imperial Club. Let's see if I can find Joseph Hyam Levy. Hello, sir.
Hello. Can I help you, sir?
Indeed, I have an urgent message for Mr. Joseph Levy, the Aldgate butcher.
I regret, sir, but Mr. Levy is not at the club at present. You can wait for him if you wish.
I thank you. Do you know where I can find him? His home address, perhaps? It is a very urgent matter.
I am sorry, sir, but we do not give out information regarding the club members to people outside the group.
I understand. I must find a way to enter the Imperial Club without having to go through the entrance hall. This may come in handy. A note encouraging members of the Jewish community to remain prudent and vigilant after rumours about the Whitechapel murders.
I can't go through there, is that what they're saying? I have to find another way?
Judging by the sound of voices and applause, there is a meeting going on at this very moment. I'll have to be very cautious.
Pardon me, sir, but the club is only open to members.
I must find a way to enter the Imperial Club without having to go...
Okay, enough. Sneak around the back. Can I get in here? No, doesn't seem so.
There's a cellar window behind this barrel, which is preventing me from passing.
So move the barrel.
There's a cellar window behind this... Coal. It's a service door and firmly locked. There must be a stock room in the cellar beneath this room. If I can just get into the coal cellar, I shall be in the place.
What do we have here? Piece of wood. What do we have over here? Piece of wood. Is that enough to create a lever?
This barrel is on a wooden pallet, but it is too... I will need a pivot.
Big piece.
There we are. My pivot.
Long piece.
I should be able to make it tip over.
Nice.
Closed. The cellar window is locked from the inside by a simple... Let's go.
Slip
Good.
the latch
Let's
and
try
head
to find
inside.
the exit that leads to the club. This may come in handy. Empty tin cans.
Empty tin cans. Okay, we got 2 doors.
Closed. No, that's not such a good idea. There's a administration. Perfect. This must be where the The kitchen. It's closed. Administration. Perfect. This must be where the information on club members is kept.
So,
Administration.
open.
Perfect. This must be where the information on club members is kept. Let's hope that it really is the key to this door. Administration. Perfect. This must be where the information on club members is kept. This must be the club's safe. What I'm looking for is probably inside. I need something. A page from an old Yiddish-English dictionary. Court's proceedings. Curious.
Jacob Levi prosecuted. There's so much text. Not guilty, guilty. Recommended to mercy by the jury, 4 months hard labor. Guilty of receiving 12 months hard labor.
Some square metal tokens. Curious. There is a document.
I want to let you know that if your club needed kosher meat when you have any special functions, I would be available to furnish it for you, guaranteed by compliant abattoir. It will be delivered directly to your society at a time that is convenient, reasonable prices. Do not hesitate to call upon my services, Jacob Levi. Refused on the advice of Joseph Hyam Levi.
There must have been litigation between Joseph Hyam Levy and Jacob Levy.
Okay, so just the safe then, I guess. Oh, is that what the metal tiles are for? Seems to be a grid.
This must be the club's safe. What I'm looking for, the lock on this chest is very sophisticated.
What?
No, that's not it.
What?
The lock on this chest is very sophisticated.
Okay, we've got Hebrew letters here. Some of them match. So is it a matter of just matching them as such? Well, that's not correct. Let me place more of them and see how far I can get. I can get very close. All of them match except for this. And this one, oh, okay, there is another corresponding one here. Is there a tile with these two symbols? Okay, there's this one. There's this one. This one. Okay. We are very, very close here. We are very close, but this cannot be the order because there's only one tile that these two can connect with, so these must go somewhere else. Let's reset.
No,
Oops.
that's not it.
That's not this here. Okay. This one is curious because this is 3 identical symbols all right next to each other. Maybe this is the one that's supposed to go there. And nope, it can't be. Oh wait, no, possibly it can. Got 2 choices there. Got 2 choices here. We have no choices here. That's not our order. That can't be our order. We have we got 2 choices. This one or this one. We've got only 1 choice here. We've got only 1 choice here. We've got no choices here, so that's not our order either. One choice. We got 2 choices here. We've got 2 choices here too. How about this one? We've got 2 choices there. What about this one? We've got no choices here, so put this one away. Let's try this one. We've got 2 choices there. We've got 1 choice here. Okay. We've got 1 choice here. Okay, I think we're making progress. Do we have an N in it? Yeah, we have only 1 that matches that. Okay, alright. Do we have 1 Yep, okay. I think we got it. Or maybe we don't. Oh, yep, we do. Okay, we got it.
Elementary. These documents contain some words in Yiddish, which reads from right to left.
We know from Kabbalah the power of gematria that enables us to count everything in the world, seen and unseen. Thus we know that Lester counts as 439, and he is blessed because 439 is also that word, which means the man of God, Joshua, the man of God. Dear Joseph, I did the counting of names for our club members, which is as follows. Mr. Bath is 403, Bet, Elf, and Thav, 400. Mr. Hammer is 356. Hi, Elf, Mem, Ain, and Rish. Sincerely yours, please tell Mr. Mural that provided his name is spelled as that, he is 346. Okay, 2. Okay. Okay, I can pick those up. Can't do anything with those. Okay. M-U-R-E-L, M-U-R-E-L. Okay, so L is this character. E is this character. Or is it not? I got a red arrow there. Is that not correct? It looks like it's correct. M-U-R-E-L. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that should be right. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's not. I don't know. Let's keep going. R is that symbol there. U is this symbol. And M is... Oh. I'm in the wrong place. This doesn't go there. This goes here. Right? M-U-R-E-L. This is L. Alright. And then this is M. Okay. What am I supposed to do with... the numbers, I wonder. Lester counts as 439. All right. I don't know why this is green and the other ones are red. They all should be the same color because that is as it is. And what is the meaning of that? Well, I mean, I know I'm not supposed to be spelling this name. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Oh. Is that how the numbers are connected? Am I only supposed to... I'm only supposed to put the letters above the ones that we need to make 439? So I need it above... L... No. Alright. Is Hebrew one of the languages? Do they not write left to right? Do they write right to left? Is that why this was green before? Because the only two letters I got right in Merle was the one in the middle, and the accident that I did, that must be it. It must be Lerum. Yeah, now they're green. Okay, that's it. Alright, M, and then U is... this guy. And then M is this guy. Okay, alright. So if that's... but then why would this start with an L? They both start with the same letter, even though this is Lester, left to right, and this is Merle, right to left. Okay. So I feel like we did that part right, but we're still missing a piece to bridge us between the letters and the numbers. Okay, we know that elf is 1, so this is 1. Okay. Bet is 2. And thaw is 400, so 4, it's not the same symbol. Agresh is 200, that's not the same symbol. Ain is 70, not the same. Mem is 40, nope. Chai is 5, that's it.
Excellent. Now, on to the next step.
All right. Oh my God. Joseph Levi. Born in Aldgate, 1841, membership 1887, 36 Middlesex Street, Aldgate, self-employed butcher. Okay.
Here we are. I have the address of this Joseph Chaim Levy, 36 Middlesex Street. Now, let's try to get out of here without being seen.
Okay.
The kitchen. It's closed, and besides, I won't find what I'm looking for.
Was there? Okay.
Blast! My exit has been sealed off. The barrel was replaced. I'll have to find another way.
Quick, start firing wildly. Musket. Hook. Are we going to make a daring escape?
I can't get out through the window. It's... I need something.
This?
I need something.
This?
I need something.
Hook?
I need something.
Tin
I need
cans?
something.
Okay.
Closed.
What the hell is the point of that?
I need something.
Okay.
No, that's not a good idea. The watchman is still... The kitchen. It's closed, and besides... This may come in handy.
Setting up some kind of elaborate booby trap?
I can't get out through the window. It's blocked and appears to be reinforced. I'll have to find another way.
Okay, the candle? Okay.
I need need something. I need something. I need something. I need something. I need something.
Yeah, I'm extremely confused.
Closed.
Okay, must need to combine something then, I guess. Oh, of course, combining the bucket and tin cans. That makes perfect sense. Okay, so then...
I need something.
Okay. Even with those combined, still not entirely sure.
I need something.
Okay.
Now let's quickly hide in administration. The kitchen, it's closed and besides... Let's visit Joseph Levy at 36 Middlesex Street.
Sure, why not?
Here I am in Middlesex Street. Let's find number 36.
31, 33, 36. Knock, 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 knock.
Hello, sir. What do you want?
Hello, Ma'am. I would like to speak with Mr. Levy. Do you know if he's in?
I am Mrs. Levy, his wife. He's not arrived yet.
Do you know when he'll be in?
No idea. You know, he works at the butcher's and helps at the slaughterhouse. It often happens that he doesn't come in until early morning and then leaves right away.
Well, listen. As soon as your husband Joseph returns, tell him that...
My husband isn't called Joseph.
You aren't the wife of Joseph Hyam Levy?
No, of course not. I'm the wife of Jacob Levy. Mr. Hyam Levy used to live here with his parents, but he moved.
Mommy, who's the man that you are talking to?
But this poor child has syphilis. He carries the mark on his face.
Leave us, children. Go back inside with your brothers and sisters.
Yes, Mother.
That's one of the children that I've been using.
Mr. Hyam Levy doesn't live here. He works in a butcher's near Aldgate, but I don't know exactly where. But if you find him, he will surely live next door. Butchers always live near their work.
Could you possibly give him a message on my behalf?
I don't see him often, and, well, even though we know him, we aren't on friendly terms, you see?
Is he bothering you, Mommy?
No, Simon, not at all.
That's a handsome boy you have. It's strange that he has light hair.
He takes after his father. Strong, with light hair.
Wait, he sounds familiar to me. A man of about 50 years old, very big, at least 6 feet tall, and left-handed, correct?
You are mistaken yet again. My husband is only 32 years old, no taller than 5'3", and he's right-handed.
Obviously, there are many Levys in the area. I will leave you, and I pray that you will excuse the disturbance. Perhaps we will have the pleasure of meeting again. Farewell, Ma'am.
Well,
Goodbye,
he
sir.
matches our description. Short, mid-30s, and right-handed, and there he is.
Daddy!
I must return to Baker Street. Let's go to Baker Street.
What if I don't? Oh, it's Beep Beep guy again.
Colder. Taste that. It'll liven you up more than the clinic, and not nearly as dangerous.
Okay. Take it back. Let's just move on.
Well, Watson, not looking so good.
Whose fault is that, Holmes? If you hadn't shown me your masterpiece in
Oh,
clay...
John, you're so fucking
Some
delicate.
actions have much larger repercussions than would be assumed at first glance. Listen, Watson, in a few minutes I will leave Baker Street in order to meet Jack the Ripper and put an end to his crimes. Beforehand, I want to go over all our discoveries to assure myself that everything is clear.
Jack the Ripper? You know the identity of Jack the Ripper?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Watson, and I assure you that we are in possession of all the elements required to determine who Jack the Ripper is. Would you like to do this work with me?
Are you sure you're up to it?
Well, we are still missing certain information in order to finish this investigation, Watson.
All right. Mary Kelly had her throat slit the same as the other victims. Whitechapel Killer had the time to kill both Stride and Eddowes, yes. A. Chapman was holding an envelope in her hands. C. Eddowes held a thimble in her hand, so they both had... there we go. This took place on the premises. Partially strangled, had her throat slit. Was unfeeling and organized. The Whitechapel Killer proceeded in the same way. The Whitechapel Killer must have been accompanied. The Whitechapel Killer, okay, so it must proceed in the same way, I suppose. Which leads us to, it is not the same man who killed P. Nichols and A. Chapman. It is the same man, yes, we know that. It is the same man who killed Elst, yes. And Jack the Ripper possesses a great physical force. A corpulent man is a tall man. I mean, he's strong. Jack the Ripper had an accomplice. No, Jack the Ripper could not have committed these 5 murders. Jack the Ripper definitely killed P. Nichols, A. Chapman, L. Stride, Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Yes, that we do know. Okay. By the way, Jacob Levy was one of the suspects. So we are again talking about real world things here. He was mostly identified due to the anti-Jewish sentiment that surrounded the case, thanks to the media frenzy and general attitudes at the time in Whitechapel. There was also some additional stigma against him because he suffered from some mental disorders. It was 19th century Victorian London. Medical care wasn't exactly all that it could have been or should have been. So part of that is not just anti-Semitism, but also ableism, I suppose. I should also note, I don't know if this game is pegging him as the killer. It seems as if they are, at the last minute now, strongly insinuating that he's the one that you should pick. Though I don't know, even at this point, who our other suspects are, so I suppose. Should mention that it's unlikely that he was actually the killer because he had some physical maladies, which, if I remember correctly, I can't recall if they were physical maladies like a form of palsy or something along those lines that was untreated, or if it, like, for example, it could very well be a palsy, or if it was catatonic schizophrenia or something along those lines. I can't remember if it was a physical disability or a mental disability, but he had difficulty moving. And they're saying that it's a butcher's knife, but it doesn't have to be. So, Whitechapel Killer is a scientist, possesses a large knife collection, is or was a butcher. Is that? Oh, that's what they're leading us to. Again, it doesn't have to be this. So many Jack the Ripper theories get hung up on this. It's not at all necessary. There's no longer organ trafficking in London. MJ's Kelly, as long as we're subject to incisions, many of Mary Kelly's organs were detached. Killer hesitated on the organs to remove. They wanted to verify the health of his victims. The killer kept going at his victims. Is this the one that they want us to pick? Indeed. I don't know why. Doesn't make sense, but okay. A. Chapman's uterus was removed and taken. None of the other the reason I say this is none of the other victims showed any sign that he was interested in their health at all. This is a conclusion that's being drawn from one of the several murders. Each victim's The victims each had a deformity. Jack the Ripper removed the victim's organs when he could. Jack the Ripper lost the organs of some of his victims when he examined them. I'm not sure which they're going for here, but oh, it's that one. Jack the Ripper removed the organs when he could. If you say so. First of all, the murderer searched A. Chapman. The murderer searched C. Eddowes. The murderer was looking for money or objects of value. The murderer was looking for something that the victim stole from him. The murderer was setting up a ritual around the bodies. Is it... yeah. Target of opportunity. The Whitechapel killer is poor. These are not conclusions that I am drawing based upon my knowledge of the case. I'm simply choosing the answers that I believe the game is going for, and I disagree with almost all of them so far. So, Jack the Ripper is ambidextrous. No. Jack the Ripper is left-handed. Jack the Ripper is right-handed. Okay. I still don't think that we have evidence that he's strictly right-handed. The game definitely led us down that path, but some of the wounds that even we saw in the game seemed like they would be very difficult for a short right-handed person to make, but a short left-handed person easily could have accomplished them. But that's fine. I'm not going to argue about it. All right. C. Eddowes' piece of apron was found in Goulston Street near the message accusing the Jews. The Whitechapel killer left a message accusing... So why, if it were Jacob Levi, by the way, would he want to cast aspersions on Jews? He is a Jew. Wants to... has a score to settle with the Jewish community. I mean, because he owes union dues? I don't think so. Syphilis deforms the patient's face. C. Eddowes was deformed. Kelly was disfigured. Jack the Ripper wanted to give his last victims the appearance of syphilis. And why? Jack the Ripper seems like he suffers from syphilis or was confronted with syphilis.
Watson. Let's determine who Jack the Ripper is, Watson.
Okay. Is this the end of the game? I feel like we're doing new stuff here, and if we're identifying a suspect, then it feels like we're just about done here, which fantastic.
Thus, we have 5 suspects. Let's add the elements that correspond to each of them.
Okay. Jack the Ripper is right-handed. Okay, so they're all right-handed. Why is Abraham Solomonovich on the board? Why would we consider him at all? Why are we considering the artist? I know that the game definitely pointed to Hardiman and definitely pointed to Tumblety, but we never even considered either of these two. Why are they on the board? Jack the Ripper was confronted with syphilis. He was, or at least we are to believe he was. Kid could have just been really ugly. Is poor. He's poor. He's poor. I don't know if he is or not. Is or was a butcher. Is, and was. Score to settle. They say that he does, but I don't see why. Great physical force. I mean, he's strong, I think they said. He's 11 years old, so he's not strong. I guess they said that he seemed pretty strong, although I'm not sure exactly why the game led us to that conclusion. Who else here is strong? Did they ever say that Abraham was strong? I don't remember them specifically saying that. Light-colored hair. He has light-colored hair. Oh, but does he have a mustache? Is that supposed to be a mustache? I didn't remember seeing a mustache just now. But he has dark-colored hair. He doesn't have a mustache because he's 11. He has dark-colored hair. He doesn't have a mustache. I'm going to say that's a mustache. I guess. The murderer is 5'3". Well, he's taller than that. He's short. He's short. No? He's shorter than that? Okay. Who else is 5'3"? Just him? Because he seemed like he was taller than John. Him, I don't know. And yes, he lives in Aldgate. I don't think anyone else lives in Aldgate. Where did this guy live? Hardy Street? I think he's fine. The murderer has workman clothes. Okay. I guess that's him and him because they're both white or blue collar. Him? No. Him? Well, luckily I don't actually have to come to any conclusions. I can just put the clues on the board. Is this okay? So we've come all the way back around. Yeah, luckily I don't have to think. The game will just do it for me. Alright, so not this one. Alright, who else has workman clothes? No. No. Okay. Who else lives in Aldgate? No. Okay, good. Okay. Light-colored hair and a mustache. I mean, we don't want to make it too hard or anything like that, so we gotta... Why does he have a score to settle with the Jewish? How come the two Jews on the list here have a score to settle with the Jewish community? I suppose he has a score to settle because, as his cousin Isaac said, internally they have some political strife, and he was targeted by somebody who was a social enemy of his or something along those lines. So that, I guess, does make sense a bit. Okay. We have way too many things here attributed to Abraham. I don't know what he's even doing on the board, but clearly there's only one of them that matches everything. What am I doing with this? There's nothing going on here. Oh. So this guy...
And there you go, Watson. Jacob Levy, Jack the Ripper.
Fantastic, Holmes. And terrifying. But some aspects of this case are still unclear, at least for me.
For example, Watson?
Why does the man only kill prostitutes?
The man kills prostitutes because he blames them for the misery of his life. He must have frequented them assiduously, and during these nocturnal visits, he contracted syphilis, which he passed on to his spouse, and via her, at least one of his children. He is an angry man in despair following a mistake that cannot be fixed.
Why does he only kill such miserable prostitutes?
He never had the means to afford prostitutes of higher standing than Nichols, Chapman, and the others. At one point in his life, he was forced to steal to make ends meet. This indiscretion cost him dearly. He was imprisoned and exiled from his community. He had frequented low-class prostitutes. Thus, it was they who infected him, and they who must pay.
But why did he remove the organs?
To take vengeance on his own community, which rejected him and had more success than he. He is a man who bore the burden of a sinister reputation, that of a thief and a madman, because of his internment. So he took his vengeance in the most cowardly and horrific manner imaginable. He rubbed his knife on the uterus of a sick prostitute before using it. He passed Edow's kidney off as a veal kidney.
Why did he disfigure the faces of the last two victims?
Revenge yet again, Watson. This is what you did to my child. You will suffer the same fate.
And the piece of apron and the message at Goulston Street?
The only reason to have placed the piece of apron incriminating the message and attracting attention towards himself is that the people that Levy holds responsible for his arrest live in this building. The butcher's where he committed the theft is found in Galston Street, and the majority of the butchers who denounced him surely live close to their workplaces.
But finally, Holmes, why didn't his wife or anyone else notice anything?
His wife has many children and must be very busy. The man is a butcher, which must facilitate things when one is questioned by the police in the street and must justify the bloodstains on oneself. Furthermore, butchers often work during the night as the meat must be sold fresh each morning. His nocturnal absences were easily justifiable. Finally, he works in a butcher's or slaughterhouses. Nothing could be more simple than slipping a kidney in here and using a knife oiled with human blood there.
This story is frightful, Holmes.
Indeed, Watson. Lies, infidelity, venereal disease, murder, mutilation, and finally cannibalism. A complete anthology of what humans at their most vile are capable.
Let's go at once to Whitechapel and put this madman where he can do no more harm, Holmes.
Let's, Watson.
Okay. Wait, why are we here? I thought we were going to the police.
I do believe we are not alone. I hope these men won't prevent us from passing.
Me? No. But you, yes, Watson. Your journey ends here tonight.
Are you going to sacrifice
You're
Watson?
sometimes a little hot-headed. Moreover, Mr. Solomonovich has a few things to tell you. I won't be long.
You can come in, Mr. Holmes. He's waiting for you inside. Everything was organized according to your instructions. I don't know how to thank you.
Later. Dr. Watson is awaiting an explanation from you.
What? Is this an intimidation tactic? It's working on me. There's no subtitles either, so it's not just an audio issue. What in the fuck is going on? Is this performance art of some kind? Can we be done with this?
Hello, Watson.
Holmes, have you the slightest idea what you are doing?
I think so, Watson.
Leaving this bloodthirsty pervert at liberty and hiding his existence from the London police? What folly!
Certainly, the police will never find their man, but with so many men deployed, this affair will indirectly have a benevolent effect on the crime in the vicinity.
But Holmes, wait! Justice hasn't been served, and we are accomplices to the fact.
Justice? But I don't serve justice, Watson. I serve truth. And incidentally, I serve my country, and I don't think that I have ever served it better than today. Imagine if after months of terror and a murder as abominable as that of Miller's Court, we deliver to the English people a man of the Jewish faith, a journeyman and head of family as the guilty party. A man who forced members of his own people to eat human flesh. All of this contained tension would have exploded in a myriad of anti-Semitic acts which would have thrown Whitechapel into a rage of fire and blood. And this man's family, who are completely innocent and have suffered more than their lot, would have been the first in the line of sight. Should we condemn an entire people to shame and promise them 1,000 wounds because one of their members committed an unmentionable crime? Neither I nor you have the right to do so. Jacob Levy, Jack the Ripper, is now in the hands of his own people. I have complete faith in Mr. Solonovich and the members of his community who, I remind you, courageously helped us. They took great risks and acted with the most salutary discretion. And, oh yes, it is understood that you cannot chronicle this investigation. It would be best to invent a story that takes us far from London during the somber period, in pursuit of, let's see, something challenging. A ghostly dog that glows in the night.
Don't be ridiculous, Holmes.
You'll see when we get there.
But what will happen now? The police will endure a serious setback and
He's
a real
referring to
loss
the
of
Hound of the
credibility. And this man?
Well, a few months after the murders have ceased, the police commission, finding themselves at an impasse, will come up with a story to tell, and everyone will vow that they know the secret identity of the killer without having the right to reveal it. As for Jacob Levy, Jack the Ripper, he will be imprisoned by his own people. He will pace like a lion in its cage until the end of his days, haunted by his crimes and his insatiable vengeance, until finally the disease which drove him to kill those poor women will finish its work and make him its final victim.
Mary Jane Kelly was Jack the Ripper's last crime. On July 29, 1891, Jacob Levy died of general paralysis caused by syphilis. In the same year, 1891, the police filed away the case for good without an explanation. For the general public, the mystery remained unsolved. Jack the Ripper's shadow roams forever in Whitechapel's alleys. And that's the end of Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. So I'm very happy that I get to move on to the next game. The next game is going to be a re-release of Sherlock Holmes The Awakened, I think it is, or Awakening. This game was rough. This game was real rough. A lot of the seeds of what eventually would become modern Frogwares Sherlock Holmes games are there, but having just run through Chapter 1, there were some things about that game that I didn't really care for. For the most part, the mechanics of the game were a huge improvement over the years. From 2009 to 2020, when Chapter 1, or 2021, when Chapter 1 came out. Huge improvement in the mechanics. They did add some stuff some point in the intervening years, like the combat system, which also wasn't great. But if this is any indication of how Frogwares develops their games and refines them over time, then it's still a great promise, right? If it takes them a couple of games to work out the kinks to get to the mechanics that we saw before, then it shows that they are, working on it, paying attention and improving things as they go. I'm seeing also, I know that when I looked it up, Frogwares is based in Ukraine and Ireland. Seeing a lot of Ukrainian surnames on the list initially, so my guess is that this game was probably primarily produced in Ukraine, and maybe later on they got offices in Ireland, maybe as a result or due to fears of Russian invasion, possibly. Final thoughts, I guess, on this game. It was hard. It was rough to get through. A lot of the solutions were completely nonsensical. Virtually zero guidance and direction when required. Far too much guidance and direction for things that were dead stupidly simple. So I don't really consider that a difficulty issue. I consider that part of the game mechanics, right? If you can't locate clues, how are you supposed to be able to solve things? I'm also not pleased with the use of real-life crimes. And again, I know I said it at the beginning, the Jack the Ripper case is a very, very long time ago. Frogwares is not the first ones to make use of it in fiction, but these were actual people. They showed actual photos of victims in the game. They talked about actual suspects and so on. And for me, it's a little bit too much. I'm not willing to accept the use of anyone's likeness or story or what have you for the sake of entertainment. I feel like using it as a source in order to sort of create your own version of events is fine, but of course you would change the names and you wouldn't use actual images of actual victims and all that kind of stuff. We'd like to thank our fan value, Gary G, who missed his last saving throw. Rip. The first DM. He taught us to roll the dice. Well, that's very nice. Very nice. Important notice. The characters and events in this game are based on one of many theories of who Jack the Ripper really was. This game is based on theory rather than fact. The views expressed in this game are not those of the developer, publisher, manufacturer, any licensee or licensor, or any person involved with the game. No representation. Well, this is just a cop-out. Of course, it's Frogwares. You guys it's your game. You can't just say, this is our game, this is a theory, we don't have any responsibility for it. That's not really how it works. All reference to persons living or dead and their acts, related events, theoretical or coincidental, should not be taken as a fact. This game is not endorsed by or associated with any third party. Yeah, it's just a cop-out. Sorry, it is. If you're going to use actual events, you can't just say, no foul, and expect it to be okay. But that said, again, not judging Frogwares too much. They're not the only ones who have used this story. It's been in fiction for hundreds and hundreds of years. So, well, not hundreds and hundreds, I suppose, since 1888 at least. And there are, in that process, of course, been some works of fiction based on this case that are far, far more... Well, they treat the subject matter with less gravitas, I suppose. We'll say that. I'm glad to be leaving this one behind. I am happy to move on to the next game, and we will see you then when we get there. All right, take care, have a nice day, and goodbye.